When the moon turns blue. It's a rare phenomenon that has only been seen 3 times in the last 60 years. It can happen when something gets between the Earth and the moon, which causes the moon to turn an eerie shade of blue. But what exactly causes this phenomenon and what happens next is not what you would expect. The moon was totally eclipsed by the Earth's shadow. But strangely enough, the moon didn't look like it was supposed to. Instead of being totally black, the moon looked like a deep shade of blue. This phenomenon lasted about 10 minutes and then the moon returned back to its normal color. This happened again in 1864, 1954, and most recently in 2018. But what happens if the moon turns blue? It was the middle of the day, but the moon had turned blue and the sky was filled with an eerie darkness. When the moon turns blue, this dust is blasted into the upper atmosphere by solar winds. Well, according to NASA, the next total lunar eclipse will be on May 2022. So keep your eyes peeled. You never know. You might just see the moon turn blue. This creates a thin layer of lunar dust in the atmosphere. This dust absorbs radio waves and satellite communications start to fail. This can disrupt GPS systems and cause major problems for airlines. But don't worry, there is no need to panic. While this sounds scary, it really only happens for a few days. The dust eventually falls back to Earth and things return back to normal. Pilots reported being unable to see the ground below them due to the sudden darkness. Some people even thought it was the end of the world. But what if the moon turns blue? You might think that nothing would happen. After all, it's just an optical illusion. But this isn't quite true. Even though this phenomenon is called the blue moon, the moon doesn't actually turn blue. What really happens is that the moon turns a deep shade of red. Do you think the moon turning blue is a sign of something bigger happening in the universe? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. See you next time! It just looks blue because our eyes aren't great at seeing shades of red in low light conditions. Our moon is actually the Earth's only natural satellite. It orbits around our planet at about 5,000 kilometers per hour. Sometimes the moon lines up perfectly between the sun and the Earth, which causes a solar eclipse. If that happens, then we won't see the moon turn blue. In order to understand what happens, we first need to know how light works. Light actually travels in waves. Only a small amount of red light makes it through. That's why the moon turns a deep shade of red. It is the same reason why during a total solar eclipse the moon doesn't appear black, but is instead a deep shade of red. The red light that makes it through the Earth's atmosphere is scattered by gas molecules in the upper atmosphere. This makes the moon appear slightly blue. This phenomenon is known as Rayleigh scattering. The same thing happens with shorter wavelengths of light such as blue and violet, but they get scattered even more. However, our eyes aren't very good at seeing blue or violet light in low light conditions. That's why we see the moon as being blue. And these waves have different colors depending on their frequency. Red light has the lowest frequency while violet has the highest. When white light hits an object, some of it gets absorbed by that object and some is reflected. If an object is red, then it absorbs all the colors except red. The red light gets reflected and so we see the object as being red. So, what do we need for this to happen? Well, anything that casts a shadow on the moon. In 1964, astronomers saw something strange. But why does this happen? Why does the moon turn this strange shade of red? So, when the moon gets in the Earth's shadow, what really happens is that most of the sunlight gets blocked. This phenomenon was first noticed in 1528 and has only been seen 3 times since then. In 1954, the U.S. Air Force was caught off guard when suddenly the sky went dark as night. The lunar surface is covered with fine dust, but the real question is, will the moon turn blue again? Anytime soon. Now, you know a little bit more about the moon and the amazing phenomenon that happens when it turns blue.